What's good, Spurs Nights? It's your boy Clan the Spurs fan. I'm here with a brand new video. I'm going live, of course, because I don't have time to edit this. But I heard some rumors, not from the source that I have and the other pages have, but I did see it online about the Spurs trying to offload Pau Gasol, and they're trying to get rid of Pau Gasol. I don't know how I feel about it. Well, I'll tell you how I feel about it. I kind of do know how I feel about it. I think it's a good move if you can do it, but at the same time, I don't want to be one of those fans that's just jumps on the ship and say, yeah, get rid of him, he's the problem. Pau Gasol isn't the main problem, but it does look like, just from those reports, that the Spurs could possibly be trying to move him. Now, I did read the article and went to the source of the article, and it went towards a guy named Mitch Lawrence. And then when I read his article, he ended up saying that he heard it from an Eastern Conference GM. I guess that's not too weird. I mean, I would think that a GM anywhere in the NBA would be knowing, or would know, what's going on around the league. So I'm not going to just take that source and dismiss it. If he's honest, I don't know about Mitch Lawrence, credibility or anything like that, but he could very well be spot on, and it makes sense for the Spurs to try to move him, but I just don't know how you're going to be able to do that, if I'm just being completely honest with you. I understand that the Spurs have been struggling. I understand that with Pau Gasol in the lineup is not ideal. We don't look like how we should look, but I'm going to tell you this. I'll tell you this. When it comes to our San Antonio Spurs, they're going through an identity crisis. And it might be partially because Pau Gasol is in the lineup. It could be because Pau Gasol, the brand of basketball he plays is finesse basketball. He's very what's the word? I don't know what the word would be for it, but he's a finesse player. That's just how he is. And when we were winning and when we were destroying teams, we were a tougher team. And mainly Jakob was getting more minutes, and everybody was just playing tougher with a chip on their shoulder. Pau Gasol gets implemented into the offense, and it seems as if we're not, that mental toughness isn't quite there. And that's partially coaching fault. That's partially, players' fault. But at the end of the day, we all know our Spurs do not look the same. So, yeah, I did see the articles because some people actually tagged me in it on Instagram. Thank you for doing that. That was awesome. And yeah, I read through the article, and it looks like where this is coming from, the initial source is an Eastern Conference GM. And a lot of times they can't just burn sources like that. So I understand. Let's see. Unfortunately, no one's going to take his contract. How many years does he have left? He got one more. Okay, yeah. Somebody answered you. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think who would take Pau Gasol, and there's plenty of suckers out there that will do it. But it's going to be extremely hard, and the Spurs have till tomorrow to do it. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough, and I understand where the Spurs are coming from. If all this is true, I understand where they're coming from. And let me add this too. I did ask my source. I'm just gonna say his initial, CG. I'm gonna call him CG the GOAT. So every time I mention him on this channel, his name is CG the GOAT. So I hit up CG the GOAT and asked him about Pau Gasol. He has not hit me back yet, and mainly because he deals with a lot of NBA teams. So right now, the obsession over Anthony Davis, he's all in that. Like he's deep into that. So it's little stuff like this, like Pau Gasol getting traded, or shoot, even something small that's going on with other small market teams. He's not going to be quick to answer those because he's focusing on something else right now. But if he come back, yep, CG the GOAT. If he comes back sometime today and says yeah and confirm it, like, yeah, I heard something like that, or yeah, I talked to somebody and yeah, that's legit, then I'll let you guys know. But as of now, let's just go with what Mitch what did I say his name was? Mitch Lawrence. Mitch Lawrence. Let's just go with what he's saying and just say, okay, Mitch Lawrence is legit, and let's just go with that. Until you hear otherwise, I'm going with that article. But yeah, for the most part, guys, the main issue that our Spurs are having, it's straight up like it's just straight up identity crisis type stuff. When people say we're not playing good enough defense, yeah, it's just not having pride. It's just not going at the opponent, trying to slit their throat. We're not doing that right now, and we are at our best. We are seriously at our best when we are tough with when we have a mental edge, when we have a chip on our shoulder. That's when our Spurs play the best. Now, the threes are important. The mid-range shots are important. But for the most part, when you play tough defense and you have that mentality that I'm going to come at you, for the most part, it kind of lingers over to other aspects of the game. So I will admit that Pau Gasol being implemented has not been ideal. I don't even think we're using him to his full capability, if I'm being completely honest with you. But for the most part, I think that we've been we play fine, but we really need to get that mental edge again. Let me see what you're talking about. What happened? Nothing happened yet. It's just that there's an article out that's talking about the Spurs trying their best to get rid of Pau Gasol, saying they're working hard to get rid of Pau Gasol. So honestly, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, the only team I can see Pau Gasol going to, and there's nothing on it, so it's not even, any validity to what I'm about to say, but just in my own mind that makes sense, is if Pau Gasol went to the Memphis Grizzlies. That's the only team that I could see where it makes sense, because he's in the later years of his career. He's probably going to retire in the next year or 2 years, and if he goes to the Memphis Grizzlies and they're trying to rebuild, he'll be that veteran there. He will also bring in a little more tickets, a few more ticket sales, because people will see it as, oh, he's going to retire a Memphis Grizzly. You know what I mean? So people will want to see that. So that's the only thing that would make sense to me. Anywhere else, I don't know how a team could use Pau Gasol right now. And don't get me wrong, Pau Gasol still got a lot in the tank, but I don't know what team could necessarily use him. I love Pau, and if they do keep Pau, I hope that we find a way to implement him correctly. But if all these reports are true about them trying to get rid of Pau Gasol, I'm not angry. You got to do what you got to do. Wish we could exchange the Gasol brothers. Yeah, me too, man. Me too, man. Because Marc Gasol is the real deal. He's the real deal. But we'll see what happens. We can trade Pau and Bryn for Mark. What else? Because you already know they're not going to just take Pau and Bryn. That's not good enough. But yeah, man, it's raining hard out here. Sheesh. I'm about to drive into the other parking lot in a minute. But yeah, trying to see what else is there. I love these lives, but at the same time, I'm not crazy about them, because sometimes it's almost like, I can't edit it and I can't say all my thoughts because they're kind of scatterbrained because I just jump on here and go live. Let's see. If we get Pau for DeAndre, Mark, or even a package for Andre, that would be a blessing, but it probably won't. Nah, that probably won't happen. Heard a lot about Prince from Hawks to Spurs. I have not heard about that. But I mean, maybe it's a thing. I don't know. When's White coming back? I know for a fact, or at least I'm pretty sure, that he won't be back in this game or the Portland game. He didn't make the trip, so he might be back after the Portland game, but I'm not quite sure. And tonight, I think it was a good move, the Spurs not playing DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. I think that's a good move. I don't know. I never do Deadline deals. I doubt anything happens. Yeah, that's true too. When it comes close to the deadline, we never do it. Now we were close last season. We were very close last season at doing a deadline deal when it came to Avery Bradley and Danny Green. That was really close. Yeah, Lonnie Walker better go crazy tonight. What's Lonnie Walker ceiling? That's crazy that everybody keeps asking that. People ask that all the time. People ask me that on Instagram, on Facebook, all the time about Lonnie Walker's ceiling. And I say the same thing. I think that he's capable of being a superstar. And on this team right now, if we're just talking about this season alone, I think he's very capable of being the third best player on the team. I really mean that. Maybe even the second at times. Love Gasol has his advantage and disadvantage. Yeah. You talking about Pau? Yeah. Because Pau is such a great passer. And he can be a really good shooter. But the problem with Pau Gasol is you give him, you put him on the court too long, and it seems like he plays, and I can't use a different word, he plays soft sometimes. He just does. The way that he looks for calls all the time, it probably rubs off on other players, and you can't play like that. You need to just be tough. You can't look for calls all the time. He does it too often. And he's better than that. I mean, dude's a two-time champion. Why are they not playing? That's giving up seating position. Well, think about it. First off, it's the first night of a back-to-back. You're not full strength. You're still trying to get some things, working as far as your players on your team. It's the Warriors, and really in this situation, it really has low risk, high reward if you win. So if you lose, it doesn't matter. Low risk. I mean, they're not going to have a mental edge over you whatsoever. If you win with your bench and with Lonnie Walker playing well, and that is a high reward. That is a high reward. And a game like this, even with DeMar in LA, it's going to be tough to win. And they're going to put all their strength into it. And then tomorrow night, which is already going to be a tough game to beat against the Warriors. And it's going to be hard to even catch up to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, period. It's just going to be hard, especially with us still trying to get things going, still trying to find our true identity. And the Warriors kind of already know their identity. So it's going to be tough. Now, I think that the Trailblazers game is a more important game than the Warriors game right now. And that's just how I see it. And I'm sure that's how the Spurs are seeing it. They're seeing there's no shame in losing to the Warriors, but we got to have some type of mental edge over Trailblazers. Let's see what y'all talking about. Let's see. Is Murray, White, DeRozan lineup awkward? No spacing. Switch Murray and White. You'll be fine. If Murray gets a shot, if he gets a three-point shot, you're fine. White can space it, and Murray is a very good off-ball player. Yeah, Murray is a good off-ball player. That's very true. Let's unleash Rudy Lonnie in on the rims and just let Bryn Davis, Marco Patty have a three-point shootout tonight. It's very capable. Here's the thing, y'all. I wouldn't put money on it, but it's very capable for the Spurs to win this game. It's not like the Spurs don't have a chance whatsoever. They have a chance of winning this game. They could very well win this game. Don't count them out so quickly. We could very well win this game. We do, is high reward. And if we don't, hey, it's the Warriors. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting off topic. I didn't mean to do that. What is your thoughts on Metu? I am not a big Metu fan. I'll say this. It's so weird because it seems like he does his hook shot with confidence, but I never seen it go in. But he shoots it with such confidence. So I feel like he works on it constantly, and maybe in practice or in scrimmage or whatever, it works fine. but on the NBA court, it just doesn't. And right now, he still has a young man's body. And when he grows into his body and gets some muscle and bulk up, he might be pretty nasty. And maybe he's missing those hook shots because he can't create enough space. And he get a little muscle, maybe he can create more space. But right now, I'm not huge on him. It's not a lot I've seen where I'm like, oh snap, Matthew's great. I just haven't really seen it. I haven't seen really any sparks yet. But I always trust the Spurs and what they do. Let's see. If Murray develops a shot, he will be much better. Russell Westbrook. Okay. You feel like he got a few more years before becoming good? Yeah. He needs to use the glass more instead of just throwing hooks at. Maybe that's his thing too. Maybe he needs to use the glass more. Maybe you're right. But yeah, let's get back on topic. I'm about to get off. But back to the subject. I am hearing that Pau Gasol could be. Let's see. Sorry, I'm looking at my messages. Could be traded, but it's not from CG the GOAT, the dude that I know and other pages talk to as far as these sources go. So I'm gonna see what he says, and if he dispute it, I'll let you know. If he says yeah, it's just legit, I might just leave it there. So yeah, I should be getting back on later today if any news come up. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get off. I gotta get off.